Hey guys, Asher coming at you today in Watcher of Realms. I am not alone. I am joined by the lovely Ivy Lee. Ivy, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel, I should say. Last time you were here, you gave me a bunch of tips. I was a young little grasshopper noob, and now I'm an adult grasshopper. I'm making my way up, but we still need the tips, you know, specifically beginner and mid-game tips. So we brought you on. You've been playing this game since launch. How are things, first of all? Everybody should subscribe to Ivy Lee's channel, by the way, if you haven't already. How are things?
Things are good. The people are still happy. The community's popping. The game is doing wonderful things, constantly improving. The events have been fun. I feel like Watcher's doing really well.
Me too. I am so into this game. Hey, before we get to the essential tips, real quickly, because I'm always going to sneak in one selfish question. I pulled count them, six legendary heroes in my last open summoning, and I want you to know, like, I'm down to a few that I have to invest in next, right? But I also want to invest in a bunch of epics because I feel like they're more relatable to everybody. I want to do guides. Anyway, I say all that to say, who would you invest in? Nocturne, Zealous, Shamir, or Venoma the Lord?
Wait, who are your other ones? Let me see real quick, because that does affect
Oh,
who you
okay.
would choose. Oh boy. I mean, there's a summoning event tomorrow, so I think the real answer is wait until you summon tomorrow, because that might change your...
That's tip number one, is wait until you summon before you decide. There we go.
Yeah, don't level up anybody on a Thursday when a lovely Corridor of Glory.
There we go, the Corridor of Glory.
They always come with the summon events, so
okay.
Don't pick on a Thursday. Wait for a Friday to make those decisions.
There we go. That's a bonus tip for you guys.
That's a bonus tip.
Let's jump right into it, Ivy. What is tip number one, essential Watcher of Realms tip?
All right, I think let's go on into the Dwarven Association.
Yes.
Start there. It's right on our main page. People always see this. First of all, yeah, unlock it as soon as you can because there's lots of great stuff. But people always wonder, what do I buy here? So the very early on and end is kind of the same answer. I want to say with diamonds, only buy the reduced large size stamina potions or the ones that just show the lightning that give you instant stamina, and summons. The summons are discounted compared to like buying them later. So that's what we would buy with diamonds.
Okay.
And then when it comes to buying with golds, like those purple insignias like you have on that page right there, any purple and blue insignias, always buy those. And also, I mean, if you're very early on, that gear you're gonna need, but you probably don't need it now. But if you're just transitioning to where you're trying to farm yellow gear and you don't have much, you might buy it from the shop, or it's actually quite useful. And yeah, any blue and purple of those you're gonna buy, and heroes. So early on, you're gonna always be full and feel like, I don't need heroes, so I got plenty. But the second you start actually properly grinding out one of those Corridor of Glory events or an Awakening of Heroes Oracle trial, and you do 1 or 2 6-stars, you're gonna have nothing left. So everyone typically buys out every single common and advanced hero from the black market with every refresh. And I definitely see why.
Okay.
I also buy auto battles for my sake of convenience because it's cheap.
I was gonna say
with gold. Yeah, I buy those.
What about the diamonds or whatever? Like, do you buy?
No.
I mean, okay. How about Guild Shop, Arena Shop, Awakening Shop? Give me a quick just give me a quickie.
The rare summons every week.
Yep.
The two always buy those.
Boom.
And because that's refreshes every week, and then the rare summons always buy those there, and the Arena Shop as well. And those are weekly, but luckily that stamina potion is daily. So I buy those every week, and that stamina every single day. Never miss that stamina potion. Those stack up a lot.
Does that complete tip number one?
Yeah, that covers it pretty well.
Okay. I will stick with buying things for tip number two. And I am a real big dum-dum, especially in the beginning of this game, because especially in these event redemption shops, I I just kind of bought whatever the heck I wanted to buy in my first redemption, not this go round here. But I wasn't prioritizing, honestly, epic skill crystals, you know, and the legendary skill and the mythic extract, like the really good stuff. It's not that I wasn't buying that stuff. It's that I was also buying when I needed it, you know, stamina or auto fights or whatever. And it's just like I missed all the really valuable stuff, right? So now I would pass on all the stuff that we can essentially just get through, you know, to your point, through the Dwarven Association and the arena shop or whatever. So I think it's like actually buying things that are super rare, and even if you need it on the other stuff, and just kind of passing on the other stuff in the redemption shop, because you only get so many of these event points or whatever they are.
Yeah, and it's hard to know like exactly how many can we get the entire time. You don't really know.
No.
So you always want to pick the best priority thing, like which probably be the legendary skill crystal first, and then go ahead. Like I think we all bought summons for the most part to begin with, which you didn't actually.
I know.
But at the time when this came out, it was, you know, it was the 10 times event. People were excited, so we bought the summons first to use them for the 10 times event, and that figuring we'd still have enough for legendary crystals, which we did, and I have plenty left over.
So if you had to like tier
nice.
in this redemption shop, if you had to like tier the top two, or like one, maybe two things that you would always buy and two things that you would never buy, what would they be?
I would always buy the legendary skill crystals and the summons, honestly.
Okay.
Because personally, I am not in short supply of mythic extract or skill dust or epic skill scrolls or legendary skill dust. Like,
okay.
I think I ended up buying legendary skill dust afterward because like it is, I guess, a little bit more rare. But I get so many epic skill crystals from the guild boss. So it depends on where you are. Like if
True.
you have plenty, then like, so for me, I didn't buy a single one of those extracts, the legendary or the mythic. Instead, I'm buying XP boost to go farm a bunch of XP before the Corridor of Glory leveling event. So I'm ready for tomorrow when I pull some summons and hopefully can level up some characters. So I was kind of buying little stuff after the fact to just prep my account for the weekend to come.
Awesome. That's great advice. What is your essential tip number 3?
All right, let's keep on the topic of buying. Let's talk about diamonds.
Let's do it. Diamonds.
So spending our diamonds.
Yes, how should we spend
early
them?
on, and I think people still do it to the end game because we can't help ourselves, using your diamonds for summons is actually a completely acceptable way to go. Especially early, you just need to get heroes on your roster. You need to get people worth investing in. And I don't think there's really another use for stamina until you're farming like mythic gear, because you're not going to waste. Diamonds to farm mediocre stuff. I mean, if you want to start stocking up on stamina potions, like you can go to the main shop also. If you go to the main shop, you can actually buy a bunch of stamina potions ahead of time, and some people do that. Like you can actually, the huge stamina potions,
you
can buy a bunch so you're stocked up on those so you have some. Like that's one thing I did. Like I got some content creator perks and I didn't want to be bad. So I bought 100 of those. I was like, boom, I'm not going to be bad. I'm going to buy them. So
where are my content creator
perks?
perks?
So I just kind of forced myself to, you know, you gotta get your stuff.
I gotta apply. No, but that's actually good. So, okay, now we're here in another shop, another place that we can spend our diamonds.
Yeah.
So what would you I mean, I know, again, it's gonna come down to what you need, but is there anything here that you would never buy?
Well, I would only buy the stamina and the XP boost if you already bought it everywhere else you possibly can. So if you are about to farm an XP raid, the highest stages, and you don't have a boost active and you can't buy it from the arena shop, you already bought it, it's okay to buy one there and then go ham. But if you're gonna do that, I mean, go ham. At least 2, 3, 4, 5,000 stamina worth. Don't just throw 1,000 stamina and think you're good to go. That's not worth it. If you're gonna do it. Make it worth it.
I love it. All right, tip number 4 I have is, and this is one that like it becomes very intuitive fairly early on. I want to say after a couple of weeks or maybe a month of playing the game, but it's something that I wish I knew early on, and that is the power of strategic recall. I call it strategic, Ivy, and not cheese, but yeah, I guess you could call it either way, right?
Sometimes there's cheeses.
Sometimes, like let's just pretend, I'm just not going to do the entire battle here, but let's pretend that this hero, Abomination in this case, was about to die, and I really need to 3-star whatever level it was. Well, the best way to do is before he takes that last hit, just recall him back, you know, and then you'll still get
that cost back.
You get the
Yeah.
cost back. You get, you know, obviously you're not going to get the credit for the kill. Thus, you will get the 3 stars, and you kind of go from there. So it's definitely something that there's so many other different ways you can use it, though, right? Like you can, you know, you probably have more ways than I do, you know, but like you can use this in so many different strategies in terms of, you know, sending out maybe it's a level that you don't care about 3-starring. You just want to get through it, and you can send out like sacrificial heroes almost.
That's,
to just,
yeah, Gear
you know?
Raid 2 is the best example for that. Gear Raid 2 is like that's what you do for the best strategies. It's very much the harder stages. You let the roly-polies hit you. If someone's about to die, you quick recall them, and then, you know, like that's actually the point, is to recall. And you can use the good thing is when it comes to recalling and waiting for things to recharge, you can actually take advantage of our free hero Volca. She on her Awakening 1, which you get her Soul Stone for at stage 105 and Tide. I think that's what it is anyway. She has like a reduced awakening time. Yeah. So it makes the revival time faster. So recalling, or when people die, she makes that faster. Like you can bring them back into the battle. So you can take advantage of that. Plus there's the hero Laurel. When she dies or you recall her, you like boost your allies' regen of their ultimate. Like there's some really fun things you can do purposefully recalling. And this is probably one of the best examples. Like you can plan your waves for when the boss is about to do the big smash with the Santa Earthshake, well, not the Earthshake, the Sandstorm and the harder stages.
Yeah.
But you can purposefully recall everybody on the map when the boss is about to do that, and then put people back once he's done doing it. Like there's so many fun ways to use that to your advantage.
Yes, I love it. And this is part of the thing that I love most about this game, honestly, is the strategy, the niche strategy with recalling and timing being so crucial in so many different stages, especially as you progress. But anyway, we'll save those tips for another video or later down the line. Tip number 5, give it to us.
All right, I would say when you're talking about most rare heroes, with very few exceptions, you're not going to take them or low tier epics that you just know are not worthy anywhere past like 5-star at best. Like I'm talking about your Voltus that you get early on. You know, you get Voltus, everyone uses him because it's what you got. But I would not take him. Oh yeah, right there next to him. Yeah.
Good
like
old
I wouldn't
Voltus.
take him past 5-star.
I thought he
like,
was the man, Ivy, when I started out.
The only exceptions are like some people, like I'm using Autumn now as a crit rate, crit damage booster in Gear Raid 1, beating stage 19 because she boosts the whole team damage. So I actually put her to 6-star just so she doesn't die. But I think that's worth it because it gets me through the highest stages. But very few, almost everybody else that you would use that's a lower tier or like early on like that, like even Narvi.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to use her forever. So don't take her past 4-star or 5-star if you had to use her as a fighter, which I doubt most people would even do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just trying to be careful with your resources, not 6-starring low-tier heroes, making sure
Would you say the same even applies to a lot of epics in the game, that you're just taking them to 5 stars for the most part?
And rares. Yeah, there's a lot of epics that are just meh.
Yeah.
I mean, if you need them, if for now, you know, you kind of got to use what you got in the beginning, but in the end it's going to be very selective about who you 6-star, and that's where just learning from community, us content creators, using great resources like MaBucket's tier list or whatever you got, you know, trying to figure out who's actually worth doing so with.
So a question for you pertaining to that same topic is, so we get one of these 4 like really solid marksmen, one of the 4 starting out. I have Brienne right now, who I like a lot. Do you recommend taking your marksmen to 6, or should they leave those at 5? And I know obviously it's going to depend a little bit on personal preference, you know.
I would say Turiel is, or sorry, Idril, his new name. Is the 100% worth a 6-star because she's used in the hardest stages of Gear Raid 3. She's endgame viable. I keep meaning to tell MaBucket, you got to boost her on that tier list. He only gives her an A+. He only gives her an A+ for Gear Raid 3, but yeah, every single video I see of people beating stage 20 or 21 is using her every time.
Okay.
She's very good. She'd have be a no regrets. You could probably get away. Honestly, I don't want to say if you were really desperate, you could do Theowen, but Brienne might be actually a little bit better. I'd
Okay.
still try to keep even Brienne and Theowen only to 50, ideally, because there's so many marksmen. Like Calypso's going to be better, that we were talking about on our collab. She's going to be better than them. And everyone, Nyx, Maul is like a top tier marksman. There's so many other ones that are just better that I can't see anyone else besides Idril out of those starter heroes being worth a 6-star unless you just don't pull a marksman for like a month.
All right. All right. Essential tip number 6 is going to be it has to do with your quests, right? Your dailies. And this is something that you actually told me as one of my starting tips. So I'm going to re-articulate it for the viewers here. But the summon one time, right? I feel like it's a trap, this summon one time. Basically, everybody wants to complete their dailies. Everybody wants to get their hands on the 30 diamonds. But the problem is this kind of siphons, especially over time. When you think about it, like a month, you'll lose 30 summonings, right? Like if you do this every day, and then by the time the awesome summoning events happen, you're sitting there with, 3 summoning crystals and you're like, where'd they all go? It's because the sneaky trap of getting them out of you on the dailies. So actually, it's probably considering not summoning one time every single day.
Exactly. Don't summon. Don't do it. You don't need to. You only need 10. You only need 10, and there's obviously more than 10 right there. You only need 1 more, and you got 3 sitting there waiting. So
that's it. That's it. Okay.
I'm going to go on over to Guild Boss for a conversation. So early Guild Boss. Now, this is something that you're not going to want to do as you progress and get a deeper roster, but when you do Guild Boss, you can use friend units. So the friend units are not going to be dramatically higher. Like if you're friends with someone who's end game, you can't just, the friend assist. Like you can use Dr. Matt's, right there, his arrogance in your battle. Boom. Like that's could be better than whoever one of your other people are.
Yeah.
So that, although to be fair, friend units are definitely not at 100% capacity. Like they're not really doing their full job. I'm not sure what they hold back exactly.
I didn't even know that. Okay.
100% like they are what they are. I don't know what they do. I don't know if there's an answer. I'm sure there is, but they are still going to be better than a lot of new players, random Voltus, and that's a mage that's not good for Guild Boss. So like that's going to be huge when you can use someone else's unit. But just keep in mind that means you can't full auto that fight again.
Yes, I'm learning that right now again. I'm reminded of that. I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you already full autoed one before, so it will remember your full auto. But if you want to see if, let's see if I couldn't top chest this, maybe I can with this friend unit. Take advantage of that and try to get the best rewards possible. It's worth a 5-minute or less, investment to do so.
Great call out there. Use the friend assist. Anything? I wonder if this, I know everything about, I didn't know about the penalty on friend assist. Should you just always put up your best heroes to your friends? I mean, like a dumb question, I guess, but.
I think the best thing to do is, or especially early, to put your Guild Boss units, because that just really helps people push their Guild Boss, and that's the place people would probably want to use them the most. Although I have people like tell me they've used it to progress something like, like Artifact Material Raid 12, like we talked about. Like that's one of those things you get stuck in Hero's Path with. So
yeah. No, it's a good tip there for sure. And then I guess, I mean, this is a basic one, but just to kind of go along with your tip on friend assist is don't wait too long to join a guild, obviously. Like get involved in Guild Boss like ASAP, I would say, like at the very beginning of the game. I waited a while because I wanted to kind of
don't wait. Yeah.
I wanted to team up with like my friends and stuff like that and my viewers, you guys. And by the way, shout out to our guild that filled up really quickly. Sorry if you couldn't join, but it's all my viewers, right? In the guild, which is really fun. But I waited so long for it that I felt like I was missing out quite a bit, On the campaign, as you go in the campaign, guys, make sure that you are 3-starring when you can. Obviously, it's not always going to be possible, but like I was so lazy. I was all about progression and I didn't even care about 3-starring these stages. And then it took me Ivy, it took me like, I don't think I'm exaggerating. It took me like 3 hours. I had like a whole night. I'm like, okay, I'm going to play Watcher Realms all night. It's going to be awesome. And then I was like, okay, I better go back and start 3-starring some of these old levels. And it was the most boring night I've ever had playing this game, where I had to go back to the earlier easy stages now and basically get 3 stars on all of these campaigns. So basically, as you're progressing in campaign, no matter where you are, even the difficulty, try if you can to pay attention to what you need for 3 stars and get 3 stars every time you possibly can as you go, instead of having to go back and do it later.
Yeah.
Don't be like me.
It's super tedious to have to go back and do it again. I'm a slacker, Ellie. I have been playing this game for forever, and I think it's been over a month since I've tried to even progress my campaign. I'm like, oh yeah, I never finished chapter 8, or like, oh yeah, I've never finished this, like the hard stages. I never like there's so many things I haven't finished. I just need to go back and do it. But I think part of that is because at the time when I did try to push it, I wasn't 3-starring it, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna not do this. You know, I don't want to have to half-ass, you know, go back and do it later.
I did it the right way in hard. I 3-starred everything as I went, but you can see here on normal, like, I'm not even sure where I left off, but you can see right here, it's just like, oh man, I have to go and do all these stupid levels again, and they're not even fun anymore because I'm OP now for them. And anyway, next tip, we'll call it 8.
Okay, I realized my tip number 9 is kind of what we talk about in my video with the collab with you. But you know what? Let's talk about it here too. We were talking about Guild Boss, and I just want to call out using underrated heroes for Guild Boss, using poisons in Guild Boss.
I like that. You know, this is a good tip.
Yeah, using poisons in Guild Boss. We were just in there, and it's so good. Under the marksman,
I know.
we have Cuke, and we have Cutter and Screef. So
Screef
they can be used early game. Yeah, Cuke and just Poison. Poison in Guild Boss is actually really good. So if you're lacking in the proper Guild Boss heroes, your Cuke is going to do more damage than your Voltus, even though Voltus is your favorite and best hero as a new player, possibly, you know? Like, he's going to do better because Poisons are just really good in Guild Boss. So even taking a Cuke and a Screef, or actually a Cutter's the one, a little bit better base stats, taking them up to 4-star only even is going to be huge progression quickly in your little baby Guild Boss, and you probably won't even be doing easy Guild Boss for more than a day if you're progressing pretty quickly.
And you gave me the tip that I'm also going to share, and you guys should check out the collab that we did on Ivy's for a lot more of these underrated hero recommendations. But you gave me a great recommendation on artifact material raid. If you're struggling, especially as you get to the stage 12, 13, etc., go ahead and use, I'm not going to show you it right now, but this is the stage. You guys are probably familiar with only 2 platforms here, right, to utilize. Go ahead and use a Cuke or a Poisoner to DPS down, and it's going to go a lot faster and a lot easier, which can be a struggle for a lot of players.
And I just noticed what you're doing right now is actually your actually this one's okay, but you're going to notice on the next stage, you want to draw that Salazar into where he's kind of in the middle of the 2 tiles. You want to slowly wait until he's actually hovering over. Like, and you want to use probably someone more like Baron or Regalis that are tankier.
Yeah, I was just kind of spamming in the background, but this is good. This is good. This is good though.
That is a really good. You're gonna wait until the boss's foot steps over, like wait until just it crosses that line, and then place him now. And now you could. I think
I was
now
a little
you
late.
can attack from all 4 spots. No, I think you're okay.
Okay.
The fighters on all 4 spots around him now. And they should all be able to attack him, even the ones next to your tank. Oh, you don't have money. This is all fighters. So now you could actually put, like, I guess defenders for the sake of testing it, but
yeah. I got you. Well, we don't have the exact comp ready, but yes. That's cool.
That's a really good strap.
Why don't you, one more time for the people in the back, why is that important that you wait till the very last second for them to stand on a square before you place? Like, break it down for us.
So when he's teetering over that middle line, and he's technically in both sets of squares, so he can be attacked from all sides. If you just put it down the first guy and let him come to you, only the 2 squares that are like adjacent to him will be able to attack. But if you let him go down further, all 4 spots can all attack. You could put 4 fighters attacking him all at once, where you can't do that because they're just going to sit there doing nothing. if he's not in the range of their attacks.
Look at that. Look at that bonus tip for you guys. Bonus. Thank you. All right.
You're the last one.
Okay. I do have one more. Glad you asked. So I think that this one is kind of an important one, and it has to do with gearing in the early game and in the mid game. You probably hear this advice a lot. By the way, you should do the storyline, not like me. I fed Rex in the beginning accidentally, and now I get the embarrassing pop-up that I need to up. It's like the second thing you have to do or whatever. Anyway, that's not it though. The point is, in the early game, a lot of players waste a lot of resources in the gear raids. It's fine to do the gear raids, especially progression and gear raids, but a lot of players will farm just tons of stamina in these very early stages where you're just going to get better gear really, really quickly, right? Furthermore, you can get gear right out the gate that's already better, and they give a lot of gold to you in the early game anyway. So you can just buy like good purple gear right here in the Dwarven Association in the early game, versus just wasting your stamina in the gear raids. But also in the very beginning of the game, flat stats are totally viable, right? Because you're going to outgrow your gear anyway, no matter what you get. So if you get a flat stat piece of gear because you're not upgrading these heroes all the way to their high stat thresholds where they're going to be taking advantage of the percent-based gear, well, flat stat is sometimes even better, again, in the early game. We're talking like level 40-ish type heroes. So I guess gearing in the early game, I feel like a lot of players, they immediately, either through YouTube or strategy guides online, which is good advice to just go for a percentage and to take advantage of gear rates. I feel like they sometimes can just throw away resources, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's like we always, Hell Hades, flat stats in the bin, and people carry that over to other games too. And that's true. And but when you're working on your end game content. But when your early game, your base stats are so low that a percentage is doing nothing, and your flat stat is actually more worth it. So when it comes to the blue and purple gear and you're working on those accessories, the 3-piece sets, definitely focus the flat stat instead of a percentage most times.
Absolutely. So there it is. Those are 10 essential tips, and my camera froze, Ivy. So you are hosting the sign off here. But hey, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Beautiful time again to recommend you guys check out Ivy's YouTube channel. We just did a collab, our second one on her channel as well. And obviously, as demonstrated here, she's a wealth of knowledge. So definitely go ahead and check her out right now. And Ivy, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. And as always, take care, guys.